Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Well, it's Monday.
It is Monday, and we're excited to be back in the studio, right? Right?
Yeah.
Coming up here later in the program, we've got a special guest. I got to dig through my files and see who we're going to be talking to. I know we got somebody because we always do on a Monday. Also, a New York couple completed a 2,500-mile cab ride to their new home in Arizona. What? Can you imagine how much that would cost to get a cab ride from New York to Arizona?
She must have had the money.
Apparently. It says here, hey, Doc, did you wash your hands? In an era of rising rates of drug-resistant infections and overburdened medical staff, hygiene experts say the best protected patients are those willing to take safety into their own hands by asking healthcare workers, please wash your hands. It says here, doctors and nurses are only washing half as often as they used to. So if you're going in to see the doctor, you might just say, can you please wash your hands before you touch me? I'm sorry. I heard on the radio that you guys are disgusting pigs nowadays. So maybe not that. You might not want to phrase it quite like that. I mean, if you're going to be touching people that are sick, you got to wash your hands, don't you?
But But the problem is they're overburdened because of Obamacare, which was implemented, and now there aren't enough doctors to see all of the patients because there's no incentive for people to become doctors anymore. The time and the stress and the expense to become a physician there's no longer the rewards for going through all of that. And so we don't have enough physicians anymore.
Now I know. Coming up, we're going to talk about what special things are happening today. That is all on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It's Monday, April the 25th. I don't know what I'm saying. It's DNA Day. It's Eeyore's birthday. It's Hairstylist Appreciation Day. It is Hug a Plumber Day, also known as Plumber's Day. International Marconi Day. License Plates Day. National Mani-Pedi Day, Malaria Awareness Day. Parental Alienation Day. Red Hat Society Day. Save the Frogs Day. Sense of Smell Day, Spring Astronomy Day, World Day of Animals and Laboratories, and World Penguin Day. Wow, there's a lot of stuff today. I think we should all go out and hug a plumber because that would just take them by surprise. It's Plumber's Day today. So, do you know any plumbers that you could hug?
No.
I got several relatives that were plumbers, but most of them have passed on. My uncles are both still plumbers. I'd have to make quite a ride to go see them, but happy Plumber's Day to all of the plumbers out there. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. A man in Richmond, Virginia learned when hauling wood, it's best to tie the wood down to the top of your car.
Well, yeah.
This sounds like something I would do. Instead, this 43-year-old man from Richmond, Virginia, tried to hold the wood down himself. It gets better. It gets much better. The man and a friend were attempting to move some wooden fencing by carrying it on top of their van. Does this sound like me?
Sounds like something we did.
Like me. The one man reached out and held on to it, while the other man, we're not done. The other man got on top and laid on top of the wood. I've never done that. Anyway, things were going well. They were driving 50 miles per hour. And you can probably guess what happened. Yeah, the wind caught the wood.
Oh,
and
my-
the man and the wood both flew off at 50 miles per hour. That is really sad.
Is he okay?
He was hospitalized. That is such a bad idea. What does that remind you of that I
It reminds me of us picking up our
Patio
doors
Oh, man.
from
Don't even say the
one
name of the place. Don't
and
say
we
it.
had to drive 45 miles.
Well, we were in one state. We lived kind of on the border, so we're at the state line basically. And I had a minivan, and I bought some French doors. And I put them on the roof, and I brought some little motorcycle straps. I strapped those babies down. And the guy said, "You don't have far to go, do you?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "Well, you're from out of state." I was like, "No, just right over the border." And it was like 45 miles. All the way home, I was thinking, we're going to destroy these doors, and I'm probably going to ruin my van.
yeah,
we
we were
did make
hanging
it.
on to. We were both hanging on to him out the window.
And the little motorcycle strap things were going... They were vibrating in the wind.
We did get him home, and we got
did.
him in. It was wonderful.
It was not the smartest thing I've ever done.
Oh, but it was fun.
It was funny. I used that same van to pull out a tree with a tow rope, and the tow rope, when the tree yanked out, the tow rope snapped up and it dented the back. It almost
Yes,
hit the
it did.
window. There was a giant dent in the back.
of our brand new van.
Yeah, my neighbor said, "I'm never going to let you borrow my vehicles." Anyway, that's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. Sheriff deputies in Texas say a woman started a brawl at a wake. This happened in Arkansas. She was a Texas woman in Arkansas. That makes sense now. She arrived with a beer can in hand, again at a wake. The woman faces third-degree domestic battery charges, as does another woman who joined the fight. Again, this was at a wake. Deputies said the first woman arrived at the Christie's Chapel Church with a beer can in hand, and she refused to leave. The first woman allegedly grabbed a man by the face, leaving scratch marks on his lower right cheek and causing him to bleed. The man's mother then allegedly slapped the woman and kicked another woman in the chest.
What on earth would cause a fight at a
I'm
wake?
trying to think how a woman kicked another woman in the chest. Either she had a high kick or the other lady was sitting down. A sheriff's report claimed the woman with the beer became, quote, passively aggressive with deputies and said that, "Ain't no backwood country cop gonna take me to jail."
Oh, wow.
Turns out she was wrong because that's exactly what they did. I have no clue what started it. Again, this all happened in a church at a wake. So there you go. Interesting thing. And that's, kids, what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
What's the one thing you never want to do to a metal pole in the middle of the winter? Anybody?
You don't want to stick your
Anybody?
tongue to it.
Good job. Ambulance crews were called to rescue a 7-year-old Canadian girl after her tongue was froze to a metal pole. Yeah. If you ever saw Christmas Story, you know what I'm talking about. Flagpole scene. She stuck her tongue to a below-freezing metal railing. This is not this week, thank goodness. This is from a couple weeks back. Amanda Sharkey was hidden from view on a footbridge in Calgary. Panicking, she couldn't get loose and then thought nobody could see her. Fortunately, an engineer eventually spotted her. Paramedics sprayed warm water on the railing to release her. Her mother, Tracy, says when the paramedics came, she thought they were going to cut off her tongue. She's a very lucky girl. Amanda says she never thought that her tongue would actually stick to the railing. She thought that was like an urban legend.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Your cousin did the same thing, and your
He
dad
did.
broke
Dad
him free
poured
by
beer.
poured beer on it.
It works.
Yeah, tongue stuck to the railing. Charlie goes, "Oh, I can fix that." Splash a little Schlitz on there, and you are set. There you go. Coming up, we've got your scoop of the day.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. 2 high-speed trains were delayed in central China because kids placed lines of pebbles on the tracks. 4 school kids did this. Conductors hit the brakes after the train rolled over a rock, and it whizzed past the train and cracked one of the windows, and shards of glass were flying all over.
Oh.
So that's why they had to stop for a couple of pebbles, and it was a whole row of pebbles on the railroad tracks. That is illegal, by the way. A new study predicts that Lake Mead, key source of water for about 22 million people in the Southwest, could be dry by 2021 if the warming continues and the water use is not curtailed. So there's a lot of things that need to happen for that to happen, but they're just saying, hey, we don't have a ton of water out here, so don't leave it running. Parents, if you're going to tell your teens they can't text and drive, maybe you shouldn't either then, huh? Study released by the Pew Research Center for Internet and American Life Project says adults and teenagers are equally likely to have texted while driving, and adults, believe it or not, are more likely to talk on their phone while driving, and that's because kids don't talk on phones. That's why. Have you noticed that? Kids don't talk on phones. They use them for texting.
I really
else.
don't talk on my phone much.
Do. I talk on my phone all the time. Study found 47% of adults who texted reportedly sent or read texts while behind the wheel. 47%. Hey, if you want to fight breast cancer, oh, by the way, don't do that. Don't text while driving. It's a bad idea. If you want to fight breast cancer, grab some walnuts, Heidi.
I like walnuts.
I like walnuts, too. We should eat them more because a study from Marshall University of Medicine says adding 2 ounces of walnuts to your diet may be one of your best defenses against breast cancer. I never would have thought of that. You awake over there?
Yeah.
All right. You're just
I
kind
was just thinking that was put out by the Walnut Committee.
Well, in the study, mice that were fed the equivalent of what would be 2 ounces of walnuts per day for humans showed a delay in tumor growth as well as a fewer and smaller tumors. So they're saying, hey, there could be something to this walnut thing. You've got the youngest in the cart, and they spot something on the shelf that they just got to have. Researchers from Yale University found out from a result of a small study that children actually think food with cartoon characters on the box tastes better. They did a study.
Well, yeah, of course.
40 children from the New Haven, Connecticut area were asked to do a taste test of gummy fruit snacks, graham crackers, and baby carrots. One bite came from a plain package. The other came with a similar package with Dora the Explorer or Shrek or Scooby-Doo, and both packages had the same exact snacks inside, but they thought the ones with the cartoon character tasted better.
It used to drive me crazy when our son was little, because we would go every once in a while get him some TV dinners, like if he had a babysitter or something that night, and they would make TV dinners.
Yeah.
He always wanted these kid cuisines.
Oh yeah, they're terrible.
That were twice as expensive and less food than the exact same meal of the other kind, but there was no cartoon character on those, so you had to have. I was like, no.
That's why I just bring a marker and I draw cartoon characters on everything. Like, you want this kind? Look, there's a cartoon character. Anyway, the kids were aged 4 to 6. 77% recognized Scooby-Doo, 60% recognized Shrek, and 90% recognized Dora. So there you go. Hey, it won't be nearly as much fun eating candy bars. It won't be nearly as much fun as eating candy bars, but a big study is being launched to see if you could put pills, take all the good stuff from dark chocolate and put it into a pill to help fight heart attack and stroke. Why are we trying to fix something that's not broken?
Right, exactly.
Let me eat my chocolate. The pills are so packed with nutrients, you'd have to eat a gazillion candy bars to get the amount being tested in this study.
Okay.
So they're saying this is a way for us to jam-pack this pill with all of the delicious goodness that you're getting, but you wouldn't have to eat 57 candy bars a day. Can I try the 57
would the
candy bars?
pills at least smell like chocolate?
I don't know. I hope they taste like chocolate, too. You ready for a strange law?
I'm ready.
In Youngstown, Ohio, it is illegal to ride on the roof of a taxi.
Shouldn't that be illegal everywhere?
You'd think so. That is a strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. Start earning 6%. Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com right now. What are you waiting for? Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, that's commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest on the program today. There's a new 6-part series on the National Geographic channel. Started a couple weeks back. We had a chance to visit with a young lady a few weeks ago. It's called The Story of God with Morgan Freeman on Sundays at 9, 8 Central on Nat Geo. And today we're going to be visiting with Dr. Andrew B. Newberg, MD. He is the Director of Research at the Myrna Brin Center of Integrative Medicine at Thomas Jefferson University and Hospital in Philadelphia. He's also professor in the Department of Emergency Medicine and Radiology at the Thomas Jefferson University, and he'll be featured on The Story of God with Morgan Freeman. Now, let's say hello to Dr. Newberg. How are you today?
Fine, thanks. Thank you for having me on your program.
Well, we're glad to have you on the program, and I think it's really a very cool show that you guys are a part of, the Story of God with Morgan Freeman. Now, when you're featured on the program, what kind of things are you talking about, Dr. Newberg?
So, my background is a field that's some refer to as neurotheology, and it has to do with the link between the brain and our religious and spiritual selves, our experiences, our practices. And over the past couple of decades, really, I've scanned about 250 people. I've done brain scans on people doing different kinds of practices like meditation and prayer and so forth. And that's what actually kind of got me connected into doing the program, is that we actually had Morgan Freeman come to Thomas Jefferson University in Philadelphia, and we scanned his brain. We scanned his brain while he was just relaxing, doing nothing, and then we scanned him while he was contemplating his own sense of spirituality, his own sense of God, and we took a look at the brain, and we talk about what the brain does during religious and spiritual experiences. So it was very exciting to be part of it, and to me it's just very, very important information so that we understand more about how we are religious and spiritual as human beings, how it affects us, health-related effects and so forth. There's just so much for us to learn, and we're just starting to learn about that by doing these kinds of studies.
Now, what kind of things do you see as you're watching the screen and they're going from just, kind of not really thinking about things to doing something, whether they're praying or whatever their sense of spirituality? What are you seeing on the screen? What kind of things are you guys noticing? Is it a big difference?
Well, yes, absolutely. And in fact, what's interesting is that it seems to affect the brain in a number of different ways. There isn't just one little part of the brain that turns on when we get religious or spiritual, but it seems to involve many different parts of the brain. And it depends to a large extent on what the actual practice is or what the experience is. So, for example, with Morgan Freeman's brain, part of what we were looking at was a part of our brain called the frontal lobe, right behind the forehead. And when people engage different types of practices where they are concentrating on a prayer, concentrating on the image of God or some other type of sacred object, that frontal lobe lights up, as we say. It turns on because it helps us to concentrate on the experience that the person is trying to have, on the practice that the person is trying to do. Now, interestingly, in our most recent book, actually, we wrote a book called How Enlightenment Changes Your Brain. And when some people get into these very peak experiences, these enlightenment kinds of experiences, sometimes that frontal lobe activity actually goes down. It shifts because part of that experience is the loss of purposefulness. They're not making it happen. They're not trying to make it happen. It kind of happens to them. They surrender to that experience, and they feel that it's coming to them from outside, and that's part of why people often feel those experiences are related to God or some kind of universal consciousness or being that makes that person feel like they're just going to surrender to that experience and allow it to happen to them. And then that, again, we can see these very substantial changes going on in the brain during those experiences. Again,
visiting right now with Dr. Andrew Newberg, MD, and we're chatting about a program that is on National Geographic Channel. It's a 6-part series, started a couple weeks back, and it's still going on. It's on Sunday evenings at 9, 8 Central. It's called The Story of God with Morgan Freeman, and it's been a fascinating program to watch. And now, as you when they reached out to you to ask you to be a part of this, what was that like when they reached out and said, hey, we want to have you on this program with Morgan Freeman? That's got to be a pretty exciting phone call to get.
It was a terrific phone call to get. I was very excited. The whole thing was wonderful from start to finish. And, I think the whole program really shows his passion for these topics, for these questions. And a lot of the program is exploring the subjective nature of these experiences. What do people feel? What do they feel when they go to a church or when they engage different kinds of practices, but part of what he also wanted to see was, well, what's going on scientifically. So from my perspective, it was very exciting. We got into, they had heard of the work that I do, looking at the brain and the relationship between the brain and religious experience. And I said, we started to talk about, well, what could we do? And I said, well, if you are interested, we could certainly scan Mr. Freeman's brain. And they were very excited about that possibility. And he became our guinea pig, so to speak, and we took a look at his brain. But it was great. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and he really is very passionate about this discussion and very knowledgeable about it, and really brings that to the discussion. And so it was, as somebody who kind of explores it in a bit of a more academic way, it was really fun to talk to him, and of course, just being in a room where that voice is being heard all the time was quite impressive. It's just, you kind of get mesmerized by his voice, and it was sometimes hard for me to focus on what we were supposed to be talking about and talking about the brain.
I would like to have Morgan Freeman read me a bedtime story. That would be pretty cool. He should record those and just sell them. I think people would probably buy them. So
I think they would. He does have a wonderful voice, and I think a really open and terrific attitude and perspective on all of this. And I think, as with me, I mean, I think his overall thought is, let's put this information out there. I mean, that's part of why I do our brain scan, and I've written books on this topic so that people can learn from this information, learn from other people's experiences, and ultimately help each person find their own personal path. Some people go down a very traditional religious path. Other people explore spirituality in different ways. And again, part of what the data show is that we all have, while there are certain similarities about all of our brains in terms of how we engage these experiences, there is also a uniqueness to it, and the specific prayer, meditation, ritual that we can develop that leads us down our own path towards enlightenment or some type of spiritual experience, that can all be a little bit different, and that to me is also part of what's fun and unique. As I always say, I mean, I think there's basically 7 billion religions in the world. I mean, not one of us thinks about God, religion, spirituality in exactly the same way, and the things that are important to one person could be not as important to somebody else, and we each have our favorite quotes and phrases and ideas that really have meaning to us, and that's part of what we try to explore.
Dr. Newberg, thank you again for taking some time to chat with us today.
Thank you for having me on your program.
Again, Dr. Andrew B. Newberg, MD, and he is one of the people that are featured on a 6-part series on National Geographic Channel. It's a really cool series. If you've not been watching it, you got to check it out this weekend. It's really, really cool. The Story of God with Morgan Freeman airs Sundays at 9/8 Central on National Geographic Channel. Thank you so much for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
California is the state with the most prisoners on death row and the state with the most Girl Scouts. Hopefully that's just a coincidence. I don't think there's any connection there. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
1 billion seconds is about 32 years.
Ah.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Tokyo World Lanes Bowling Center is the largest bowling establishment in the world. Guess how many lanes they have?
How many lanes do they have?
252 lanes.
Holy cow, it's a big building.
Yeah, and I can still not get a lane. Come in, yeah, we're all booked up. That's in Tokyo. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
There are 3 different versions of the Mona Lisa under the visible one, according to X-ray technology. So he painted it, and he's like, I don't like it. Then he painted it again and again and again. 3 different versions under the Mona Lisa. I wonder if she was smiling in any of those.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably not. By the time he got to the 3rd time, she was like, I am sick of this.
That is maybe why she wasn't smiling in the last one. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
When President Hoover and his wife wanted to visit and not be overheard by White House guests, they would speak to each other in Chinese.
Really?
We should learn Chinese. Or maybe we should just learn English really well, because we don't even have that down yet. A couple of fun facts for you right there on a Monday.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by RadioReallyWorks.com. I know you're listening to a podcast, but did you know the John and Heidi Show is also a radio show? And for those of you who have businesses, you should consider using radio to advertise your business. We can even help you create some catchy little jingles or amazing radio ads that'll help pull people in. Get all the details or just learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Laziness extends your lifespan is the headline that I have on this story.
I don't think so.
Says here, forget all that nose to the grindstone nonsense. Been telling you that for years. Well, couch potato lifestyle, free of stress, is definitely the way to go, according to medical researcher Peter Axt and Michaela Axt-Gaterman in their book, The Joy of Laziness, Why Life is Better, Slower, and How to Get There. Authors prove that goofing off more and exercising less will actually make you smarter, younger looking, less cranky, and more lovable. The German doctors developed a 5-step plan to lazy up and lengthen your life. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Forget long-distance running. Marathon athletes often die at early ages from heart attacks. They say instead switch to a brisk, easy stroll several times a week, and that'll actually boost your circulation. Another thing, if you live in a northern climate, think about moving south. Warmer weather and sunshine dispels depression and alleviates stress.
See?
There you go.
I told you.
Sleep in whenever possible. Long hours in bed pump your immune system so your body can fight viruses and disease. Also from their book, they say combat the aging process by slowing down your metabolism with an occasional daily fast. Even digesting food can take a toll on you. And the last thing is relax your brain by hanging out for a day doing nothing. Nothing more strenuous than flipping the channels. Do that as often as you can. I actually could get behind all of this.
I have to say, I think this is my favorite study that we have ever read.
Can I print this
on this program
and hang it on the wall? I like this. And
as long as we right away move south, because that was like one of the most important things to do in order for all of this to work.
I like it right here. But this is an interesting thing. The book is called The Joy of Laziness, Why Life is Better, Slower, and How to Get There. And it's from a couple of German researchers who put that thing out. So I wonder if it's in English, too. I hope so. I have to check that book out. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
This story is a bizarre story, and I'm telling you, if this would have come out a few weeks ago, I would have thought for sure it was an April Fool's Day joke, but it's not. It is, according to the story, for real. A German researcher said cars passing toads on the road make the toads explode. Yeah, even if they don't touch the toad. Sounds really weird, doesn't it? Says here, according to this German researcher, the air pressure created when a car zooms by forms a wind tunnel. It decreases the outside pressure around said toad and makes them explode. Kaboom.
They should put little toad fences along the road so
Listen
they can't get
to
up
this
there.
plan. It says the faster the car travels, the more likely this is to happen. Researchers say speeds as little as 20 miles per hour could cause this. He's calling for speed limits and toad crossing signs.
Toad crossing signs are not going to do anything.
Slow down, there are toads crossing here. That's what his plan is. So there you go. I'm glad that's in Germany and not here.
No, if they had little toad fences where
How
they
about
couldn't
toad
get
tunnels?
a certain distance.
Put little toad
to
tunnels
the
where
road.
they go under the road. Do that. That's a good idea. Coming up, we've got something from Berlin we'll be chatting about. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
And you thought our kids were in trouble once in a while. A teenager from Berlin was arrested for driving a bus through a red light. The 18-year-old not only ran a red light, but he was also driving a stolen bus. But wait, there's more. Here's the kicker. He stole the bus and ran the red light because he didn't want to be late for his court date. He was going to court to face charges for an earlier arrest for leaving the scene of an accident. Police escorted the young man to court, whereupon his original hearing was rescheduled. The Justice Authority spokesperson there, again, this was in Berlin, said the teen deserves some credit. At least he was on time for court.
Wow.
That's from Berlin. We've had 3 different things from Germany recently.
Our kids are great kids. We've never
Yeah, I
had
know.
issues.
I know, but our daughter comes home late and you're like, I thought you were face down dead in a ditch somewhere.
Hey.
And our son, here's a good thing. Our kids, we taught them, don't text while driving, don't talk on your phones while driving. But it drives us nuts because we're trying to get a hold of them and they won't call back because they're driving. So I'm like, if you hear your phone ring, maybe we say, pull over and call us back. I don't know. We got that rule and they're at least following that rule, but then we don't know
it's
until
wonderful that
they
they don't talk on their phone or text. But
Yeah.
when they know that we've tried like 5 times, maybe pull over.
Yeah.
and
Anyway.
call us so that we at least know you're okay.
For whatever reason, we had the book from Germany, then the toads from Germany, and that was from Berlin. So maybe we'll have another German story coming your way. I see it's from Men's Health. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
If you want to heighten your 5 senses, Men's Health has some ideas for you. You ready for this, Heidi?
Yes.
You can have sharper senses, and there are ways to heighten your sense of touch. Look at the body part that is doing the touching. A British study found that looking at the body part increases the activity in the area of the brain that controls the sensation. The reverse works too. If you don't want to feel something, look away from it. I was reaching
That's
over and
like
touching
when
Heidi.
you're getting a shot. If you don't want to, you just look away from it. And
Yeah.
It won't be so bad.
It's still bad. Hearing. If you want to increase your senses of hearing, simply smile. The muscles that turn your frown upside down, they also tense your middle ear muscles. In turn, they soften the low frequency noises of the hum of an air conditioner, the dim of traffic, the dim of traffic, is that what they call it? The hum of traffic, whatever. Office chatter, 20 decibels by just smiling.
That's
And
probably
then-
why you don't hear anything when you're mad.
Yeah. Taste. If you want to increase your sense of taste, take a good whiff of your food before you eat it. 90% of your taste is actually scent. 90%. So if you got a stuffy nose, things don't taste right. That's why. The more odor molecules that hit your receptors in your nose, the more robust your sense of taste. That's why you're supposed to sniff in the wine before you drink it and then sip it in there.
Agreed.
Or like Heidi, just guzzle it
I
right
do
from the
not.
bottle. If you want to increase your sense of smell, run the hot water. Before odors reach your smell receptors, they first pass through a membrane. Warm, moist air will actually help you dissolve all the stuff out of there, and then you'll be able to smell really well, at least for a minute or two. And then the last thing, if you want to increase your sense of sight, position your computer monitor so that you're looking slightly down. Your eyes won't be open as wide, so they won't be exposed to as much cornea drying air. That means the less eye strain and blurring and better vision. So have it so your head is up higher and you're looking down at your computer. I just noticed you set up higher and looked down.
I did.
Did it work?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I wasn't having eye strain, I don't think.
Okay,
so
well, I guess we'll have to figure that out. I have to put my bifocals on upside down if I do that. Coming up, we've got some good news. That is on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap this program up with some good news. And I think this is an absolutely awesome story. You ready for an awesome story?
I am ready for an awesome
I think
story.
today's a good day for an awesome story. It's a
It's
Monday.
a great day for an awesome
Some
story.
people don't like Mondays. I kind of do like Mondays.
I don't
have no
like
reason
Mondays.
to dislike Mondays. But this is such a cool story. What do you think it's about?
I don't know.
I thought maybe I'd see if you could guess it, but you didn't. A grateful student has paid off his grandparents' mortgage. How neat is that?
Wow.
Do you want to hear the rest of it?
Of course.
I'll start back at the beginning. A grateful student has paid off his grandparents' mortgage to thank them for raising him. According to today, 24-year-old Stephen Darts scrimped and saved for the past 6 years, and earlier this month, he met his goal. He wrote out his very first check, and he handed it to his grandparents who raised him. The check, which was $15,000, is enough to pay off their mortgage in full, and there's some left over, so they get to go to the Bahamas to celebrate.
Oh, how wonderful is that?
What a nice grandson. We don't have grandchildren yet, but I'm thinking,
I'm fine
Troy,
with that.
Troy, Taylor, you guys, you want to pay off our mortgage and take us to the Bahamas? They both have, not good enough jobs to do that yet. So one of these days, maybe they will. I just think that's such a cool thing. And I saw a story not too long ago where there was a young man who was drafted in the NFL, and he got paid really, really, really well, and he paid off his mother's mortgage, and he paid off his grandparents' mortgage, and he bought them cars. And I'm like, that's really cool, because there are other people in that same situation where they were doing stuff just for themselves. They're like, this is my big mansion here, and here's my 7 cars that I can only drive one of them anyway. And I think that is so cool when people do nice things for other people. Don't you agree?
I absolutely agree.
There was a thing on Facebook the other day, a little video, where there was a guy doing really good things for other people, and I commented underneath of it. I said, when you put a smile on the face of people around you, you make your world more beautiful. And when I typed that, I was like, that's a cool quote. I don't know if anyone else has ever said that. I'm just impressed that I said something that, I was able to actually say. I stumble when I talk all the time, so I should consider getting a job speaking for a living. Anyway, I thought this was neat. It made people smile. It made me smile. It made Heidi smile. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the good folks at Knowles Systems. And if you haven't heard of them, well, you need to listen up, because I got to tell you all about this. If you have funds earning less than 6%, maybe you should check into a better system, like Knowles Systems. They have commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. If you've never heard of a commercial mortgage bridge loan, I'm going to tell you what this is. It's a loan paying 6% to 8%, and it could be just what you need. You're placed in the first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels and apartments and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges. You can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. If you'd like more info on how you can start earning 6% or more right now, call 888-547-8007. I'll give you that number again in a second, but first, you might want to just check out the website if that's easier. commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com or 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
Got a couple of fun things for a bonus break here. Signs you are broke. Signs you are broke. If American Express calls and says, please, leave home without it, you might be broke. Another sign you might be broke. Your idea of a 7-course meal is taking a deep breath outside of a restaurant. That means you might be broke.
Yeah.
If you've rolled so many pennies, you've formed a deep and loving bond with Abe Lincoln, you might be broke. Long-distance companies don't ask you to switch to them. You might be broke. We don't want
This
you.
is a very old list.
Probably. If you look at your roommate and see a large fried chicken in tennis shoes, you might be broke. If you rob Peter and you still have to rob Paul as well, you might be broke. If you finally clean your house hoping to find some change, you might be broke. If your bologna has no first name, you might be broke. Our bologna never has a first
Our
name.
bologna never has a first
I had some of that bologna that has a first name.
Sometimes it does if it's on sale.
I was going to say, I had some of that. I was like, wow, this is what bologna's supposed to taste like. I like it. If you give blood every day just for the orange juice and cookies, you might be broke. If Sally Struthers sends you food, you might be broke. If McDonald's supplies you with all the kitchen condiments in your kitchen, you might be broke. That's little ketchup packets and whatnot. We've had that before, too.
They don't even have ketchup packets out anymore.
it's
You have
because
to ask for them.
These people were taking fistfuls. I need some of these for later. Oh, yeah. And if on Sunday when you go up for communion, you go back for seconds, you might be broke. I thought that was kind of funny. Can I have seconds on communion? That was some good body of Christ right there, I'm telling you. This is something funny as well, at least to me, and I hope you'll find it humorous. Metric cliches. You know, in America, we're not like the rest of the world, Heidi. The rest of the world uses the metric system. We don't. We call it the standard system.
You know what? That's fine.
Here's the thing, though.
I like being different.
We call it the standard system. If everybody else does it that way and we don't,
It's standard for us.
wouldn't theirs be the standard system?
It's standard for us.
I just think that is so funny. Yeah, metric and standard. Who uses standard? Just us. We're the standard, though. Yeah. Anyway, if we were to switch to the metric system, just imagine what a mess that would be. You give a man 2.5 centimeters, and he'll take 1.6 kilometers. If you give a man an inch, that's 2.5 centimeters, and he'll take a mile, that's 1.6 kilometers.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Did you like that?
No.
There's more of the same coming. Put your best 0.3 of a meter forward instead of put your best foot forward. A miss is as good as a... What? A miss is as good as a 1.6 kilometers. A miss is as good as a mile. I've never heard that one. Have you?
I have, yeah.
Well, good news, Heidi. 28 grams of prevention is worth 453 grams of a cure. So that must be an ounce.
An ounce of prevention is a pound of a cure.
Spare the 5.03 meters and spoil the child.
I don't know what that one is.
Spare the yard, 5.03 meters.
I have no clue.
And then the last one. Peter Piper picked 8 liters of pickled peppers. A pack is 8.8 liters, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Peter Piper picked 8.8 liters of pickled peppers. So there you go. What is he doing with all these pickled peppers anyway? Peter
I
Piper.
think those were really stupid.
You did?
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of clever. Well, I'm glad they sent it, and I'm sure Heidi would be as well. But it's a Monday, and she doesn't like Mondays. There you go. Bonus Break is brought to you by Knowles Systems. Now, if you've got funds that are earning less than 6%, you need a better system. Reach out to Knowles Systems. I'll give you their website and their phone number here in a second. They have a thing called a commercial mortgage bridge loan. They say it way better than I do. Commercial mortgage bridge loans earn 6% to 8%. So it's a really good way for you to have your money actually work for you. Get all the details straight from the folks at Knowles Systems from their website, commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. I'm going to give you a toll-free number as well. I got to scoot forward because I got something blocking it. There it is, 888-547-8007. Again, that's 888-547-8007. And be sure to tell them you heard about it on the John and Heidi Show.